My name is Samantha. I'm a 32 years old office worker, and I've been married to David for 5 years. We live in a suburban house just outside of Seattle. David runs a small business, mostly doing contract work in IT. I work as a project coordinator at a logistics company. We don't have any children. But I always thought we were leading a relatively peaceful life. That was until David's mother, Evelyn, started coming around almost daily after our marriage, slowly turning my life into a nightmare. At first, I didn't mind Evelyn dropping by. She would bring homemade cookies, talk about how proud she was of David, and offer tips on gardening. But it didn't take long for her to start overstepping boundaries. She would reorganize the kitchen because, in her words, I didn't know how to make it efficient. Then, she started criticizing my cooking, saying it wasn't up to David's standards. David never stepped in to defend me. He would just shrug and say, "Mom's just trying to help." Her visits became more frequent and invasive. She would inspect our closets and complain that I didn't fold David's clothes properly. Whenever I tried to object, David would tell me to just go along with it. He insisted that his mom meant well. I feel trapped between keeping peace and losing myself. David is an only child. His father passed away when he was in high school, and since then, Evelyn raised him on her own. She worked multiple jobs to make sure David never went without. David often spoke about how much he owed his mom, how grateful he was for her sacrifices. Growing up with Evelyn as his only support system, David naturally became the center of her world. And now, Evelyn can't seem to let go. She acts like she still needs to protect and guide him in every aspect of his life. It became apparent that David wasn't just her son, he was her purpose. As for me, I grew up in a household where my parents taught me to be independent and make my own decisions. It was a loving but structured environment. When David and I got married, I expected to build our own life together, with a balance of both our backgrounds. But I didn't anticipate that our relationship would have a third member, his mother. One Friday evening, after a long week at work, I came home to find the house in complete disarray. My clothes were strewn across the living room floor. Some were slashed with scissors, and others were dumped into garbage bags. My first thought was that we'd been robbed. But when I looked closer, I realized that the damage was specific. Only my things had been targeted. Just then, Evelyn walked in from the backyard, carrying another bag of my clothes. "Evelyn, what the hell is going on here? Why are my clothes everywhere?" "Oh, Samantha, I didn't think you'd be home so early. I'm just doing some cleaning. Honestly, these clothes are just so tacky. They don't really suit you, or this house." David deserved a wife who looks more put together. So, I thought I'd help by getting rid of the things that make you look, well, unpresentable. "You had no right to touch my things. These are my clothes. Who do you think you are? Calm down, dear. If you dressed a bit more respectfully, maybe this wouldn't be necessary." David's too kind to say it, but he deserves a wife who represents him well. Just then, David walked in. Hearing the commotion, he looked at the mess with a blank expression, not the shock or anger I expected. "Samantha, why are you yelling? Mom's just trying to help. Honestly, you do have some pretty embarrassing stuff in there. Maybe Mom's right. You could dress a bit more maturely." "Are you serious right now, David? Your mom cut off my clothes. This isn't helping. This is sabotage." "Sabotage? Sweetheart, don't be so dramatic. I'm just trying to clean up your image. David has an important client coming over next week. We can't have his wife looking like some disheveled college student." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. David, the man I loved and trusted, was siding with his mother, yet again. And Evelyn was acting as if her intrusion was completely justified. I felt betrayed and humiliated. The situation only got worse when Evelyn insisted on managing our finances. One evening over dinner, she made her proposal. "David, I've been thinking, since Samantha clearly has the problem with budgeting, I think it would be best if I handle the finances. That way, you both can focus on your careers without worrying about the bills stacking up." "Excuse me? I handle the bills just fine. We're not behind on anything. Why do you think you need to take over? Mom's just trying to make things easier for us. You know, you've bought some pretty unnecessary things lately. Maybe if Mom handled the finances, we wouldn't have these little arguments." "Little arguments? David, your mother is trying to control every aspect of our lives. When are you going to stand up and act like an adult? Don't talk to my mom like that, Samantha. She's just looking out for us. I realized that I was alone in this battle. David wasn't just a husband. He was a mama's boy. One who couldn't see how his mother was tearing our marriage apart. One evening, while staying late at the office to catch up on work, I found myself alone in the break room, wiping away tears. Just then, my coworker Kate walked in, carrying a coffee mug and a sympathetic expression. Samantha, are you okay? You look really upset. I'm sorry, Kate. I didn't mean for anyone to see me like this. It's just, everything's a mess at home. Hey, no need to apologize. Want to talk about it? I hesitated, but something about Kate's kindness made me open up. I explained how Evelyn had been practically living at our house, how she had ruined my clothes, and how David always sided with her. By the time I finished, Kate's eyes were wide with disbelief. That's not just invasive. That's straight-up controlling behavior. And David's enabling her? Samantha, this isn't okay. You can't just keep letting them walk all over you. I know, but I love David. I just don't understand why he can't see how toxic this is. Every time I try to stand up for myself, he makes me feel like I'm overreacting. That's gaslighting. Look, my sister went through something similar with her ex and his controlling mother. You need someone who can help you see things clearly and protect your rights. My sister's lawyer were amazing. Maybe you should talk to him. I feel a glimmer of hope for the first time in weeks. Maybe there was a way out of this suffocating situation. Kate gave me the lawyer's contact information and encouraged me to make the call. That night, I called my best friend Lisa, who had been my rock since college. Her voice on the other end of the line was comforting. Hey, Sam, I've been thinking about you. Everything okay? Actually, no. I need to talk to you. It's about David and his mom. Things have gotten so much worse. I recounted the last incident, and by the end, Lisa was practically fuming. Unbelievable. That woman has completely brainwashed him. You're his wife, not his mom's puppet. Sam, you need to put your foot down. You deserve better than this. I know, but what if David never changes? What if he always lets Evelyn control him? Then you have to think about your future. You can't sacrifice your happiness just to keep the peace. David needs to realize that you're not just an accessory in his life. If he doesn't wake up, maybe it's time to move on. Lisa's words echoed in my mind long after we hung up. Maybe she was right. Maybe it was time to stop compromising and start reclaiming my life. The next day, I took a deep breath and dialed the number Kate had given me. A calm, professional voice answered the phone. Law Office of the Tom Hastings, how can I assist you today? Hi, my name is Samantha. I was referred to you by Kate Warner. I think I need help with the family issue. Of course, Samantha. Why don't you tell me what's going on? I explained everything. The financial control, the destroyed belongings, the constant interference. Tom listened without interrupting. Samantha, from what you described, this situation clearly involves emotional and financial abuse. You have legal rights that protect you from this kind of behavior. We can file for divorce and seek damages for the destruction of your property. You also have the right to claim a fair share of the marital assets. Divorce? I never thought it would come to this. But I can't keep living like this. Take your time to think it over. If you decided to proceed, I'll be here to support you every step of the way. After the call, I feel a strange mix of relief and fear. The reality of leaving David was sinking in, but so was the possibility of finally being free from Evelyn's control. That evening, I waited for David to come home. When he finally walked through the door, I stood in the living room, determined to confront him. David, we need to talk. Can you wait? I'm exhausted. No, it can't. I'm filing for divorce. What? Are you out of your mind? Just because mom cleaned out your closet? You're blowing this way out of proportion. No, David. This isn't just about the clothes. This is about you constantly choosing your mother over me. She controls every aspect of our lives, and you never stand up for me. She's my mother, Samantha. She just wants what's best for us. No, she wants what's best for you. And I've been sacrificing my happiness to make both of you comfortable. I can't do it anymore. Just then, Evelyn barged in, having overheard our conversation. What's all this nonsense about divorce? Samantha, you're not going anywhere. You have a duty to my son. No, Evelyn, I don't owe you or David my life. I deserve respect and love, not to be treated like some outsider in my own home. Actually, Samantha is well within her rights. Emotional and financial abuse are recognized grounds for divorce in the state. I've already filed the paperwork. Who the hell is this guy? He's my lawyer, and from now on, we'll be handling everything through him. David's face turned pale, and Evelyn's mouth dropped open in disbelief. For the first time, I saw fear in their eyes, and it felt like a small victory. Samantha, you can't be serious. You're really going to throw away our marriage just because my mom tried to help? You're acting crazy. Exactly. After everything I've done for you two, this is how you repay me? You're ungrateful, Samantha. I knew you were trouble from the start. Mrs. Walker, your behavior constitutes both emotional and financial abuse. Samantha has documented your actions and has the legal right to protect herself. David, your enabling of this behavior also make you liable. Liable? What does that even mean? I didn't do anything wrong. Turning a blind eye to your mother's controlling and destructive actions make you complicit. Samantha is filing for divorce and will be seeking compensation for the damage to her belongings and for the mental anguish caused by this toxic environment. Toxic? How dare you? I was just trying to teach her how to be a good wife. She never appreciated what I did for her. No, Evelyn, you never respected me as David's wife. You never saw me as family. You just wanted to mold me into someone you could control. But I'm done being your puppet. Evelyn's face contorted with anger, while David looked completely lost, as if he never expected me to actually stand up to them. I could see his mind racing, trying to figure out how to regain control. David, don't just stand there. Say something. She's trying to break up our family. Samantha, can we just talk about this? You know how much Mom means to me. You're blowing this out of proportion. No, David. I've spent years trying to compromise. But there's no compromise when it comes to my dignity and happiness. I've been nothing but patient, hoping you would finally put our marriage first. But you never did. Evelyn suddenly changed her tactic, putting on a more pitiful expression. I just wanted to help. David, I did everything for you. Now she's trying to take you away from me. I can't lose my son. Mrs. Walker, your son is an adult. Samantha is his wife, not your rival. Your inability to recognize boundaries is the root of this conflict. Mom, maybe we did go a little too far. I just wanted to keep everyone happy. David, how can you say that? After everything I've sacrificed for you? It's always about you, Evelyn. Your sacrifices, your needs. Did you ever stop to think about what I was giving up? My peace of mind, my independence, my happiness, all just to keep this household functioning. For the first time, David looked genuinely confused and conflicted. I could see a flicker of realization that maybe, just maybe, he had been wrong. But Evelyn was not about to let go. David, don't let her manipulate you. She's trying to turn you against your own mother. No, Evelyn, I'm just trying to reclaim my life. You've dominated David's world for too long. I tried to be the bigger person. I tried to make this marriage work. But I'm done sacrificing myself for your warped sense of family. Evelyn's face twisted in rage. David seems to shrink, realizing his usual tactic of appeasement wouldn't work this time. But I didn't want to choose between you two. And that's exactly the problem, David. You never chose me. Your mother was always the priority. I deserve to be someone's first choice. With Tom's help, the divorce was proceeded officially. David was stunned when he realized that half of our marital assets would go to me. Evelyn tried to contest the division, but there was nothing she could do. When the judge heard how Evelyn had destroyed my belongings, he ruled that I was entitled to compensation. David had to pay a considerable sum, which put a significant dent in his savings. I moved out of the house and rented a cozy apartment downtown. For the first time in years, I feel genuinely at peace. David and Evelyn's life began to spiral. With the legal fees and compensation payments, David's business took a hit. Clients started backing out as rumors spread about his unprofessional conduct. Evelyn, unable to cope with losing control, moved in with David full-time, but their relationship quickly deteriorated. Without me to be the common target, they began turning on each other. Mom, stop rearranging my office. I can't find anything. Wow, if you keep it clean like I told you, I wouldn't have to. The bickering became a daily occurrence. Neighbors would often hear them yelling at each other, and eventually, David's landlord issued a noise complaint. David was forced to move into a cheaper, run-down apartment. Evelyn, still convinced that I was to blame for everything, never stopped complaining about how unfairly they had been treated. As time went on, David's life continued to unravel. His business was barely hanging on by the thread, and his reputation in the community had been severely damaged. Clients who'd once praised his IT skills now avoided him, partly because of Evelyn's constant interference. She had insisted on answering business calls and giving unsolicited advice, making potential clients uncomfortable. "Mom, why did you tell the clients that I could finish the project in 2 days? That's impossible. I was just trying to impress them. You never know how to market yourself, David. I thought you'd thank me. Now they think I'm unreliable. You're making everything worse." Their arguments grew louder and more frequent. The tension between them was suffocating. David started drinking to cope with the stress, while Evelyn would berate him for being ungrateful. Evelyn, too, found herself increasingly isolated. She had always prided herself on being the matriarch, but her reputation in the neighborhood took a hit when people learned about the court case. Neighbors began whispering about her obsessive control over her adult son, and invitations to local events stopped coming. "I don't understand why the book club suddenly replaced me. I've hosted it for 10 years. Well, Evelyn, people just feel uncomfortable around you. You tend to dominate conversations and criticize everyone. That's just constructed advice. People are too sensitive these days." Evelyn couldn't comprehend that her domineering attitude had finally pushed everyone away. She had alienated her friends, her family, and even the one person she always counted on, David. As her world got smaller, she grew bitter and resentful, constantly blaming me for the downfall. Meanwhile, I was thriving in my new life. After moving into my new apartment, I feel the freedom I hadn't known in years. The first night, I sat on my balcony with a cup of tea, watching the ceiling lights twinkle, feeling at peace. At work, I threw myself into the new project, determined to prove myself that I could excel on my own terms. Kate noticed my newfound energy and smiled every time she saw me bustling around the office. "Samantha, it's good to see you looking so happy. Honestly, I was worried about you for a while." "I know. It's strange how you get used to being miserable and convince yourself that it's normal. But now I can wake up feeling like I can finally breathe." I also reconnected with Lisa, and we made it a tradition to go hiking every Saturday morning. Being out in nature, surrounded by towering trees and fresh air, made me feel strong and renewed. "You're glowing, Sam. Seriously, it's like you've come back to life." "I guess I have. I spent so long trying to be what David and Evelyn wanted that I forgot who I was. Now I'm just me." A few months after the divorce was finalized, I joined a local community group that organized charity events. That's where I met Ryan, a chef who had just opened a small bistro downtown. At first, I was hesitant to open up to someone new, but Ryan's gentle, easygoing nature put me at ease. "Hey Samantha, you're really good at organizing this event. We could use someone like you to help plan our restaurant's community night." "That sounds fun. I'd love to help." As we spent more time together, I realized that Ryan valued my opinions and respected my boundaries. It was refreshing, almost surreal, to be treated as an equal rather than being told how to live my life. One evening, after a successful charity dinner, Ryan walked me to my car. "Samantha, I really enjoy spending time with you. Would you like to go out sometime? Just us, no charity work." I like that. More than you know. Back in the cramped apartment, David's drinking had gotten worse. One night, after another heated argument, Evelyn finally snapped. "All you do is sulk and drink. What happened to the successful son I raised? You've become a loser. Maybe if you hadn't driven away every client with your meddling, I wouldn't be in this mess. You ruined my business, Mom." David's outburst shocked Evelyn. For the first time, she realized that her need to control everything had destroyed not just Samantha's life but her own son's futures as well. In a rare moment of self-awareness, Evelyn fell silent, realizing that she had nothing left. No friends, no family who wanted to be around her. One evening, while sitting at the bistro with Ryan, I received a message from an old neighbor. It was a picture of David and Evelyn's now vacant apartment with a "for rent" sign on the door. David had declared bankruptcy, and Evelyn moved to a senior living facility after their final fallout. Part of me feels sorry for them, but mostly, I just feel relieved. Everyone has to face the consequences of their choices eventually. You did the right thing by putting yourself first. Looking at Ryan's reassuring smile, I knew he was right. I wasn't responsible for fixing David or Evelyn. I had chosen myself, my happiness, and my future. And that was the best decision I'd ever made. Samantha learned that standing up for herself didn't make her selfish. It made her strong. By breaking free from an emotionally abusive environment, she reclaimed her life and opened herself to new opportunities. Remember, it's never too late to choose your own happiness. Sometimes, letting go is the first step to find yourself.